this.
Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a
New
lot.
Mexico Bank and Trust, Forest Tire Company, Wiener Schnitzel, Citizens Bank of Clovis, Curry County DWI, Dr. Glenn Heisel, Doctor of Dentistry, and Western Equipment.
Did a great job
What's that?
on your commercial, your sponsors.
We got them all in 30 seconds,
That's great.
which is 26 seconds of commercial content in 4 seconds of. We'll decide if it's one of those that's good or bad when you drive down the road and you're listening to it just as a listener, and you go,
Whose voice is that?
why did you speak about that much? Take out more words. That's always the answer. Take out more words.
But people want to explain themselves so much.
Oh,
You know?
I know. Yeah, in so many ways.
Yes, and projection is the worst way to do it. Like, projecting all of the stuff that's inside of you onto another person is the worst way to explain yourself to someone. It's like, go away. Just go away. Go look in the mirror. Project on the mirror.
Talk quietly with yourself.
Yeah.
Get me some of that, that is. Thomas Rhett started off with Ricky Skaggs. Time for one more to make it a 3-song set. Every hour, less commercials, more Kane Brown, and more country, like Homesick. All right, we will be right out of this track.
Sure. Randy Travis.
Are you a Randy Travis fan?
Yeah, I like the older versions of
Me
country.
too. Me too.
When they actually had to have talent.
You know
Not
how
just
he-
cool boots.
You know how he was discovered?
No, I don't.
Fascinating, simple story. There was this record producer sitting out front, listening to the radio playing and overhead while he was eating breakfast. And there's this guy drowning out the radio, but he can sing. And so the guy stops eating his food, and he starts trying to figure out which direction this is coming from. What he finally figures out is coming from the kitchen. Walks right straight back to the kitchen, and here's Randy Travis back there. He's a fry cook and doing dishes and just working in the kitchen. And the guy says to him, you know, I think I could make you a star. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm a fry cook here. That's what I do. And,
I'm a dish pit master, y'all.
yeah, you know, and all of a sudden he became a star.
That's crazy.
It's one of those that started just that way. He
Yeah.
was singing in the backdrop in a restaurant, fry cook, just singing away. And the guy goes, hold it. That voice is better than the one singing the songs.
That's amazing.
I
I like that story. That makes
Yeah.
me feel all warm inside.
Yeah, it is a good story. And Randy Travis, very genuine person.
Yes.
Sadly, late in his career, he had some alcohol problems.
Well, who doesn't have problems with stuff like that? You know?
Well, it got pretty harsh with him. There's
Well-
social consumption, and then there's way over that top.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, and the difficulty is the social acceptance of the overconsumption tends to overshadow the scream for help that's actually going on with what, you know.
Well, and of course, things across your lifetime change so dramatically. When I think back through the years, I've watched police pour people into a car, reach in, start the car, and follow them to their house so that they safely got home and they didn't hurt anyone. Can you imagine that today?
Not at all.
That was the answer 40 years ago,
Yeah.
50 years ago.
Well, mental illness was not diagnosed back then, you know.
And I'm not so sure that many of the columns that we have for today's mental illness even existed then.
All right, no.
I think we've become more attuned.
And they've
I
given
don't
names
mean
to
that
everything.
necessarily
For
good.
serious.
Yeah.
Oh, you bite your tongue? What do you
It is best country right here, Kane Brown and Homesick. Well, we'll be right here. The commander, Duane Chase, will be right here. He's got a lot of football action. And in this case, Duane, it is all the fun of another game. Manzano and the Monarchs come to town.
Yeah, crazy part is it's the last home game of the season.
It is of the regular season.
Of the regular season.
And to go a step more, they really got thumped this last weekend.
The team coming in did, yes.
Manzano got
38
thumped.
to 0 got beat by La Cueva.
So that tells me that number one, they're going to come ready to play. Number two, the Cats are going to have to be ready to do our best as we take them on this Friday.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think the game in the district is going to be La Cueva and Clovis. Looks like.
What about
El
Eldorado?
Dorado? Well, I think they're a step behind both those two teams, to be honest.
Eldorado is one of those spoilers.
Yeah.
They've been there so often at the state championship time for a reason. They get lucky right near the end.
Yeah, you know, Manzano, those 2 years ago, won the state title.
I know.
So, you know, they know what to do. It's just, I think it's a younger group. And
Change in program.
yeah, you know, high school doesn't have a draft, regardless of what some people think.
Well, now, and week
You
three,
kind of coach who you get.
that's right. Week 3 on our area team, our feet are stuck in concrete in Melrose because Coach Phil's been there. This will be week 3.
Yeah, who picked all those games?
You
anyway?
and I did it, so I
Yeah.
think we'd be responsible for that. We can't blame him. So anyway, Phil will be there in Melrose, and they'll be playing.
Taking on Dora this week.
Dora has been coming on.
Dora
here
is
lately.
hanging around. They are.
So
Should be a pretty good game.
also top 10.
Correct.
So that'll be a match.
Matter of fact, the new coaches polls just came out.
Really?
Haven't even had time to look at them yet.
That's kind of like a teaser,
Well,
of sorts,
yeah.
isn't it? Huh.
Yeah, probably not a lot of changes, but there'll be a little bit.
All right, we'll look forward to the coaches' polls. So Wildcat football, 7 o'clock Friday night. Then we'll pick up the area game, 7 o'clock Friday night. We have that as well. And as if that's not enough, Duane Chase, we have Mule Shoe Mules.
Back in action, headed
Yep.
to Littlefield. Yep, on KWKA.
What time is that?
It's set for 7 Texas time,
So
6 o'clock Terry time.
there you are. We'll look forward to the action.
Otherwise, New Mexico time.
Yes. Yeah, I was just dealing with that time thing yesterday. Had a medical day in Lubbock, and you know, if there's anything I always hate is back timing things to another time zone. You know, you need to be here at this time, but it's actually this time because it's another time zone. Really. So I if I had my choice, I wouldn't live within 1,000 miles of a time
Yeah, I was
zone.
visiting the other day with a guy that's traveling back to India,
Really?
and he was talking about when you come back, you gain a day.
Wow.
And I said, wow, I know people can't deal with an hour time change between here and Texas.
Think of that.
Okay,
A
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So exactly, if you gained
Yeah, you
it-
can leave on Tuesday and get here on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Something along that
To
line.
be somewhat clear on this, Duane, what does that really mean? Does that mean like your day doesn't exist?
I guess, yeah. It's almost like a warped time travel,
Wow.
missed space kind of thing, yeah.
I hate those kind of thoughts. I don't even like to think about it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we can't even deal with the 1 hour change when you're in
No.
the state line.
That's enough.
Yeah.
It's
Like
only
the
8
Twilight
miles
Zone.
away. Jesus help everybody on that, right?
Hey, yesterday I made us an hour early for everything.
Did you?
Yes, and then so we had this hour we had to figure out what we were gonna do with because Mom was sleeping.
Oh
So
man.
Dad and I went shopping.
Is it coming from
Sprouts.
different
Yeah.
departments or
like
something?
Sprouts.
It's a different every time.
I'm
you
like,
say
oh.
I know. Same here.
every single
I'm like,
time.
let's look at the
Do you suppose it's
toothpaste.
coming from different
You know what's
parts
funny?
of Excel,
Like my
one
dad hates that
day or-
stuff, so I don't take him to that. We just get the fruits and vegetables. You know, I make sure we get all that.
We could create a
does
whole
like the
email
frozen
stream, like 9
food
names and
stuff.
send it
Yes.
to all of them.
But he will not look at vitamins and stuff. And I'm like, oh, because I want to go through every one of them and read them all and see which one's better.
Last one's out.
And he's like, no.
And it's always a different person.
Yeah, I would get in so much
It's
trouble
never the same person.
Being in there.
being, yeah, because I would go to natural grocers, I would go to Sprouts,
Oh, I love natural groceries.
and I would drop like $100.
Yes.
And I would come out with like half a cooler of frozen stuff and like maybe 4 or 5 bags of things. And I was like, what the hell did you buy? And I'm like, all the stuff that we need in order to survive.
Right.
But yeah, the prices are obnoxious.
They really are. I took my ex when he flew out here. We went to Natural Grocers because they're all vegan in California. So
99.1 KCLV.
$100 on nothing. And it was like, yeah. But it was stuff he wanted. Yeah. He didn't care about it.
All right. Have you been on the other side yet, Jim?
Nope.
Okay. We'll be on next. I
Sure.
couldn't stop it in time.
Okay, so at Allsup's this morning, I see a lady with pink hair in a pink onesie with a tail. Yeah,
Which Allsup's are you at?
this is 21st and Prince.
Wow,
literally
she was
taking pictures
straight
of
in the center of town.
Big fuzzy pink hair, a fuzzy
On a
pink
Monday.
onesie.
Tuesday.
But she did
Today?
that on a Monday. Because I
She
doubt
did
she
that
went
on
home and changed, right? That was her Monday
That was,
outfit.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's how I started my day. I thought I'm not getting up early anymore.
Yeah.
That was disturbing. And it had little wings on the back
Yeah.
and a tail.
Wow.
She was actually in the store. I just couldn't get a picture. So I got one as she was getting in her car, and it was like,
That's crazy.
I
Well,
think
you know,
you can
we're
buy
getting
them at
close to
Walmart.
Halloween.
well, with that, that's the first thing I thought. Is there a Halloween party? And then I'm like, no, there's not.
The only
This
way
is
that I would wear,
disturbing.
because of our thyroids, is if it's below 60 degrees and I have to go somewhere, I'd put that on for a blanket.
Right?
But as far as like an outfit,
What time of day was it?
this morning he said.
Yeah, that's 6
That's why I
this
think it was her
morning.
Monday
6
outfit.
o'clock in the morning.
I don't know when.
So
it
I'm
becomes
assuming
wrong.
she just.
So she
yeah.
was in her jammies.
When does it become wrong? What time of the day is it officially wrong to be wearing jammies?
8:30
8:30?
in the morning.
On the weekend, I live in my pajamas like
Well,
the whole
on the
weekend.
But I'm talking about going out, not at home.
Sometimes
you're
I'll
not-
run to the store, but I put a jacket on or something to try to cover, but I'll go to the store in my jammies sometimes. But my
I got
jammies is
scolded
sweats
a
and a
lot.
t-shirt, so.
Exactly. I got scolded a lot for wearing my PJs and my house shoes and my hair wrap.
Well, your
Like,
hair wrap, yes, I can
yes.
see. Don't.
And my
don't,
husband
yeah.
was like, if you ever step out of the house like that again, I was like, I just went to Allsup's. He goes, I don't care. 10 people saw you that work for me. I was like, oh. I will never do that again.
That's so funny. I used to go barefooted everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
In California, I was always barefooted.
I love
I
being
rarely
barefoot.
wore shoes.
Well, I'll be honest with you, New Mexico, that'd be a bad thing. for
Oh
you,
yeah, I tried it like one time and
Yeah.
regretted it and never did it
too.
again.
You don't know what you might get to.
That on top of those goat heads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got
no.
so many of those.
Those are
things.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd be farther
terrible.
ahead to step on a 1-inch spear. Those
I
things
stepped
are
on a
nasty.
nail whenever I was
Yes,
little.
I did too.
My mom kept telling me, you better get off them boards. You better get off them boards. And I'm like, my flip-flops are thick enough. And I walk over, step on a nail, pink, pink, punk.
Yeah.
And
Did you have to get a shot?
Oh, no, I didn't get a tetanus
Oh,
shot.
I got a tetanus
She
shot. Yeah.
goes over there and picks me up off the board. She like stomps on the board and just rips me up off the nail, spanks my ass, and throws me in the house.
Like there, that'll show you.
I'm like, I deserve that.
We were actually.
99.1 KCLV, the most music morning show. That's Thyroid, and I have to surrender. We're ready. Let's step in, find out more. Jennifer Arington joins us this morning. We'll have more things from New Mexico Naturals. Good morning, Jennifer.
Morning, guys.
How are you today?
Great. How's everybody?
Well, good. You have a good weekend and everything?
I did.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Well, one of the things we want to kind of focus in today on New Mexico Naturals in our conversation is something that is a huge problem for many. And it's a small gland. It's one of those many things that we just kind of count on working right until it doesn't work right. And then all of a sudden we got thyroid problems. And probably it usually is low, but it doesn't have to be. It can be producing way too much, the thyroid.
Absolutely.
Tell us first of all about the thyroid and why it's so darn important to how our health is.
So the thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland that rests on the center of your trachea, just around your Adam's apple. Women do have an Adam's apple, but it doesn't project the same way that men do. And it is responsible for secreting hormones that collectively are called the thyroid hormones, but they are responsible for mitigating a lot of functions throughout the body. Every cell in your body requires a communication with the T3 and T4 hormones that the thyroid produces in order to maintain homeostasis as far as metabolism and body temperature.
Well, simply put, and this is the gross over-exaggeration of the day, the 32-foot paintbrush, thyroid is the one thing that regulates everything.
Yes.
It causes like a long list of problems in us that are sometimes unrelated. And I think the average person has trouble putting that all together. Like I feel this, and this. And yet those are all common conditions with thyroid. Let's talk about some of the things that may tip people off that they have a thyroid issue and maybe a good reason to come by New Mexico Naturals, and then what we can do to help.
So there are probably between 7 and 10 things that somebody can refer to their body on that would indicate that they may have a issue with their T3 and 4 thyroid hormones. One thing could be massive hair loss. One thing could be massive weight gain or loss. Incredible constipation is related to thyroid conditions. Moodiness, you're either consistently cold or you are clammy and have cold sweats. Your eyes can be affected. There's so many things that are related to the way that your thyroid is communicating with the rest of your body, that although all of the conditions don't necessarily seem like they have a thread of similarity, they do. And it all comes back down to the storage of a particular type of halogen or gas style molecule that's on the periodic table called iodine.
I do know that men can suffer from thyroid issues.
Yes.
But much more greatly with women.
Absolutely.
When I look back to my mother, who lived to 101 and a half,
Wow.
she had thyroid issues for many, many years. My wife as well. I don't know that my sister, but probably so. If I asked her, she'd probably say, well, yeah, I've had that for a long time. So often, doctors will go down the path of prescribing 1 or 2 or 3 of the different choices of amounts of medicine that are appropriate to help make your thyroid operate properly, if
Right.
you will.
Mm-hmm.
How is that good or how is that bad?
Well, there's benefits to getting things under control regardless, but you have to understand why your thyroid is sick at first. Just prescribing a molecule to try to get...
To kind of force.
Yeah, to force something to work without looking at the underlying issue is going to put you at a disadvantage longer down the road. So you have to see why the absorption of certain minerals and in particular the iodine isn't taking place. And one of the reasons why that happens is because of those 5 gases that are on the periodic table that iodine is a member of the family on. Those are also very similar molecularly, and so when you are lacking the iodine in your diet, for it being stripped from the nutrition or whatever it is that may have happened, or you just make poor choices, or you're deficient in other enzymes, whatever the case may be, when those other gases get into your thyroid, they occupy space. And you look at your thyroid as this major parking lot, and then iodine, these little tiny cars. And if there's no parking spaces for iodine to park onto, even if you have sufficient amounts of it in your body, those other gases have occupied those spots on your thyroid, the iodine just passes through. With those other gases, they're not able to, your body can't transcribe the T3 and 4 because the molecules are, although similar, they're missing components. And so your body tries to transcribe the hormone, but it can't do it with those other, members of the family. So you have to have the iodine put in, and you have to pull those other ones off the thyroid to replenish the iodine. And that's really the underlying issue. It's not that you need this other pill to start doing something else for you, as you need to clean out the system and then come back in and replace it with what's needing to be there. Kind of like cleaning a pool and stuff,
Kind of like a reawakening.
Yeah.
rather than
a remodel or, you know, whatever.
yeah, rather than throwing the building away and starting over, which is kind of the case. Well, now, how can you help at New Mexico Naturals when folks start to experience things that are related to their thyroid, but may not choose to go down the path of a lifetime of taking medicines as an answer? What are some of the natural choices that help us get a stabilized and properly operating thyroid?
So Lugol's iodine is a really effective way to start learning how your body responds and how deficient you are in iodine. There's a urine test that you can take too, where you would take a certain type of therapeutic. You would test your urine, and based on what the levels are of the secretion of that particular therapeutic that you had taken will determine what you're deficient in. Selenium is a mineral that is incredibly effective with helping with the thyroid, but like some of us know, it's not necessarily going to work for everyone because there's still that underlying issue that needs to be addressed. So you can do a combination of therapies, which is more time consuming and daunting than just one pharmaceutical, but at the same time you can take a comprehensive approach and look at all of them in a perspective, and then take your individual biology into account with blood tests, food sensitivities, chemical intolerances, things like that can be addressed as well, to really get your thyroid back to where it can operate at its best with the condition that it's under.
So we're visiting again with Jennifer from New Mexico Naturals at the North Plains Mall. Jennifer, it always seems to me that we have a simple answer to health problems. We just want something to work like it should. You know, if you have an issue with pancreas and that's diabetic issues, you just want it to work like it should, and then I wouldn't be diabetic. You'd like this case, the thyroid gland to work like the thyroid gland did when you were much younger, before it became a problem.
Right.
What is it that really causes us to develop an issue with this? When we're young, we don't have. As we get older, we do have. What causes that?
So that's a great question. One of the things that I have noticed being a nursing mother is that mothers pass over 70% of the iodine to their infants when they're nursing them. So mothers are going to be incredibly deficient if they've nursed their infants of the iodine.
And how do we get iodine? I mean, I know salt can have iodine.
Well, iodinized salt is modified. So you can get iodine through, you get it through foods that are not. So iodine is an oxidation, it oxidates things. And in order for there to be shelf stability on food, they removed the iodine. And that's why we don't get it in our diet anymore, is because in the 70s there was a huge revamping of the grain system, and they removed the iodine and they replaced it with a couple of other members of the family of those molecules. And so now it's really hard for us to get iodine from our diet. But it is naturally occurring in foods. I take Lugol's iodine, which is just an iodine supplement. It tastes kind of like chlorine, but it's not. It's just the iodine molecule. And I genuinely enjoy the fact that my body responds so well to it, because I don't have so many problems with my body temperature, and that's my major thing is I'm consistently cold, and it affects my muscles and my ability to concentrate and follow through with all of my tasks, because I'm consistently shivering and trying to warm up.
So do you also have all the other maybe 20 things that are part of that, but just not as pronounced?
I do, but because I recognize them and I understand what's happening to me, I don't let them get as much out of control. And I have to lead by example, and so I work really hard at understanding my body, because I live with a thyroid condition. So when people come and talk to me, I can usually pinpoint what it is that's going on. Because if they tell me between 5 and 7 things, I already know 3 areas of their body that they're really struggling with, and it's usually their digestive enzymes, their immunoglobulin or their immune system, and their thyroid. Pancreas is another condition, is something as well, but usually if there's a mood disorder, I look at their digestive system and their thyroid immediately.
It always strikes me interesting, and until I had to spend time becoming more involved with this because of age and many other reasons, the endocrine system is something that we don't know anything about until we have to learn about it.
Yeah.
It's this secret kind of quiet little, not very important stuff that goes on in the body. It only sends out maybe a drop or two of something